Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
All right, welcome to episode 1497 here, almost episode 1500 here at Gamer Tag Radio. This is your host, Danny Pena, and joining me for this special episode of Gamer Tag Radio, the one and only Tony Polanco from Throwdown Show. I was going to say another show because we had a guest very soon. Throwdown Show, and also writer at Tom's Guide. What's up, Tony?
What's going on, Danny? How you doing, man? Glad to be on. I expect a spooky episode right now.
Ooh, I know, right? I know. And for those that don't know, by the time you listen to this, this is the 21st anniversary of Gamer Tag Radio. So happy birthday to the podcast. 21 years. And look, what a better way to have Tony to celebrate, right?
Yeah, real quick on that, bro. Like, congrats, man. That is a huge accomplishment, you know. I'm enjoying some of the, like, pictures you've been posting lately, you know, to celebrate, you know, so it's dope, man. Congrats to that. That's huge.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's just always mentioning this to people, man. Like, yo, if I'm still having fun with this, I still want to continue. You know, we're going to have some guests, of course, always on the show, but just having the whole crew still recording, still debating, having our fun time, you know, and also the community still listens to the show. So that's something that I'm really, really proud of, man. So I can't wait for the future. I got some cool stuff planned for
that's
future.
what's up.
So I'm always like that. It's nothing new. What's up with you, Tony? What's up with the podcast, man? And also with Tom's Guide.
Yeah, Tom's Guide's going good. You know, we're kind of restructuring a couple of things. We're trying to be, it's kind of interesting because we're writers, but we're trying to be a little bit more like influencers, not doing more video stuff because people kind of like that. Right now, I'm reviewing a bunch of laptops that have the latest Intel chip, which is crazy because it's supposed to be a regular chip, but it's powerful enough to actually play games on. So you don't need like a big beefy like rig or whatever. So it's kind of interesting. And then gaming, the first game I reviewed this year was Dragon Quest Reimagined, which is a lot of fun. And obviously, right now we're going to be talking about another game, Resident Evil. But yeah, things are going good on my end. And also, I'm very glad that New York has thawed out because it's been very cold, as you know, Danny, when you came to visit us last month.
It was brutal, man, brutal. Yeah, it was a good time. It was just too cold for me, man. It's been a while for me, you know. But for those that don't know, we're going to be reviewing Resident Evil Requiem. That's Resident Evil 9. Shout out to Capcom for giving us the opportunity to get the game early. Paris was going to join this on this episode, but they sent out the PC version, I believe the Xbox version, a little bit later.
Yeah.
So Paris just got it. It wasn't enough for him to review it with us, but we got it early. I got the Nintendo Switch 2 version, and you got the PlayStation 5 version.
Yeah.
And we finished it. We're going to talk about it. No spoilers. We can't do no spoilers. This is like, the embargo is very, very strict. But I really want people to listen to this, get ready, get hype. Once the game comes out, just enjoy it because it's a really, really good game. So now, before we go to the actual review, I have to mention I went to a couple of days ago. I went with Paris to a launch event for Resident Requiem. It was at the Porch Experience. I can't remember the name exactly. It's in LA, but they have like a track. You could test out like their cars, different type of Porsche and everything.
That's cool.
And they had actually the car from the game that Leon drives. You'll see it right in the beginning of the game. I think you've seen this like pictures and so on. But yeah, so we tried out. They took we met like the voice actors from the game. They were there, hang out with the creators and media. I got to hang out with Capcom, and then everybody got the chance to try out the cars. They tested out. Like you will go in there, this person driving it, and because at first I'm like, wait, we're driving this ourselves? There's no insurance. Like, well, how they? No, they drove it. And yeah, it was fun, man. I got so sick. Yo, this guy was driving so fast.
Oh no!
I got sick for hours, bro. I was just nauseous. I usually get nauseous like with driving, sometimes playing, not a lot, but cars especially. If you're driving fast and crazy, I get like super sick, bro, for hours.
Damn, yeah, you got car sick. That's bad, bro.
Yeah. So I had to like come back home, and I just lay down. I was just sick for hours, bro. But the event overall was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Great time. Up. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to Capcom for inviting us. Make sure to go to social media. We posted a bunch of pictures of it. So yeah. All right. So Tony, you know, I'm a huge horror fan and also a huge Resident Evil fan. I know you two, and we've been going back and forth.
Yeah.
About the game. I always been excited about Resident Evil Requiem because the reason is this is the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And for years I've been thinking, okay, how are they gonna make it even better than the previous game? How are they gonna do it better, even better? And I have to say, this is by far, in my opinion, the best Resident Evil game that has come out in a very long time, in my opinion. And I think it was like the right way to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil. The thing I like about this game, and of course you play two characters, that's Leon from Resident Evil 4, and also Grace. Her style is more like Resident Evil 7, first person, very creepy, spooky. The thing that I like about this game is Capcom got the best parts of all the Resident Evil and put into one package, especially 7 and Resident Evil 4, like the way how you play. The thing I told Paris, when you get to play this game, don't make any changes. Play how it's supposed to be played. Because if you start putting like, okay, let me put it only third person view the whole time or first person view the whole time, instead of switching how it switches every time it changes character, I think you will miss out what was meant to the way how it was meant to play. Is that leave it as default, and you'll see why. When you play it, it makes sense why there's first person and why there's third person. So for Grace, she's the one that you're going to be playing from the beginning and everything. With her, when you get to play her, you could tell she's a rookie. She's very scared. You could feel it when you hear the sound of her voice, the way how she's walking. The weapons that she has is very different than Leon. Leon is like, yo, I'm a pro. I'm not scared. I'm ready to kick butt. But when he changes his view, you'll see why this game is special. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Before, it was like, okay, third person, that's it. Or first person, that's it. But the way how they did it this time, it makes so much sense to me. I'm like, yo, this is how you do it. There's going to be parts that are going to be very scary, and there's some parts that are like, yo, you're just ready to kick butt, but it depends on the character that you play, So that's how I feel about the game. I think the story is excellent. It makes a lot of sense. Lots and lots of sense.
Yeah.
And, before you play this game, I highly recommend for you to play the older ones, especially Resident Evil 4 and 7. And if you can, go with the original 1 and 2, if you can. Because you'll see when it connects, everything it connects, like the story and everything, without spoiling it. But I think Capcom did an amazing job with this game, man. An amazing, amazing job. What do you think?
Yeah, I largely agree with what you said. It does feel like, and I mean this in the best way possible, like a greatest hits. You get the very scary, methodical, survival horror aspects with Grace, but at the same time, you get the Resident Evil 4 remake vibe with Leon. And I think that's a smart way of kind of marrying the two audiences, because a lot of new people came on board with Resident Evil 7, right? But at the same time, as those games were coming out, we also had the remakes coming out, which were also very popular. So Capcom wisely decided, let's not go with this or that. It's like, we're going to give them both. And yes, you're right. Basically, with Grace, it defaults to first person. With Leon, it defaults to third person. But you could switch it around if you want. You could play the entire game first person, play the entire game in like, first person, or mix and match, right? And I'm glad you said that, because I went to 2 events. It was 2 demos, and I played both of them straight up in third person. But for this one, I was like, I'm playing it the way it was meant to be played. And there's some moments I want to revisit, because I'm like, with Grace, I'm like, how would this work in third person? Because it just feels so natural in first person. But it's great. And what I like about Grace is, like, she acts the way, let's just be real, the way we would if we were in that situation. We're like, yo, what's going on here, bro? This is scary, but at the same time, because I saw some, like, even Capcom themselves in their press, like, oh, she's scared, or yes, she is, but the fact she keeps going forward and doesn't stop shows you how brave she is. Because she's still an FBI agent, so she knows how to use guns, and she knows how to use her mind, like, to solve problems, So I would actually say, even though Grace on paper is a different character than other Resident Evil protagonists. Her gameplay is very reminiscent to me of the first Resident Evil. You don't want to go around shooting everything. You want to be very methodical with your ammo. Make sure you don't get into unnecessary fights. But then you have the opposite end, Leon. It's just like, if there's a monster coming at you, shoot it. Like, don't even worry, just go ham. There was one specific section. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously. You know, you're facing a specific type of monster with Grace, and you got to just run away from it. With Leon, he literally says, "Oh, I'm killing all these guys."
Yeah, yep.
So, but I love it.
I know you mentioned that she's scary, and I know I mentioned that earlier. But here's the thing: with Grace, it's a different type of scare. It's something like she has never seen before. Because, you know, if you're an FBI, you're used to the whole, you know, humans, investigating and all that stuff, you know, when there's like a murder scene or something like that, right? But when it's like zombies and like these weird creatures you have never seen before, it takes like the fear to like the next level for the character and everything, you know? So that's why I bring that up, because like, it's a different type of scare for Grace. And you could feel that once you start playing with her. Playing at like her character and everything. So, but I have to say, man, like, bro, like the voice acting is top notch. The story is really good. I love that you see different types of zombies. It's not
very different types.
Yeah, because here's the thing: like back in the days, you only see one zombie, and maybe you see like a dog or something. You know, like the early
that's right,
games,
busted through the window.
Right? This one is different, man. This one is different, and I wish I could say more, but it's a different type of vibe now.
We can't say this because, you know, people have played the demos. Some of the zombies recall their past lives. So it's like, for example, one of them is like a cleaning lady. So she's like, "Why is this dirty?" Like, she's complaining. Another guy's like, "Yo, turn the lights off." And then there's like a cook. You know, he's still taking orders. So it kind of humanizes the zombies, but also makes it scary because you're like, "Yo, this used to be a real person. And I got to take him out," you know? So I really enjoyed that. But obviously, like Resident Evil, you get your big, crazy boss fights. And if you play the demo, you know, you will be chased by some big monsters as well. And that's always a lot of fun too, because like, you know, once you think you get their pattern down, once you advance a little bit, they change it up on you. No, you know, no spoilers, obviously, but I really think the way they did that was very clever.
Even when you look at the screen, let's say you're playing with Grace and you see the way how it's the UI is different than Leon. So with her, you have your weapons and so on. You know, you switch to like later is going to be a different thing, but it's the lighter and so on, right? But when you play it as Leon, it's different. Now you have shield. The way how his setup is very, very different than hers. Like, I just love that. And I got used to it. Like, I already knew right away, okay, it's Leon. Okay, like, it's Grace, you know? Yeah. So that's something I really enjoy. And I have to say this too, Tony, because I know a lot of people are going to be reviewing, the majority I think is going to be reviewing like PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, especially PlayStation. I decided to go with Nintendo Switch 2. And people are probably going to say, "You are crazy. Why you did that?" I played Resident Evil at the Nintendo showcase that they had a couple of weeks ago in New York. In the cold.
Yeah, the one I couldn't go to because I was trapped in my crib.
Yeah, that's the one. So I went and I played it, and I was so impressed. I was like, it didn't even feel like a Nintendo Switch 2 console. Like, it didn't even feel that at all, right? You know, so I got to play it, and I said to myself at the event, I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to review it, I'm going to review this Nintendo Switch 2, and thank God that I did. It was, to me, it's one of the best looking games I've seen for the Switch 2.
Wow.
I put it up there with Cyberpunk. And look, they've been on the roll, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cyberpunk a couple, you know, when it came out, launched last year. Pragmata, I played that. That looks great on the Switch 2.
Oh, nice.
You know, I know there's been feedback about Elder Ring, how they play it at previous events. This one is no issues. I think there was only like maybe 1 or 2 moments throughout the whole 12 hours to 15-hour experience where I had like maybe some slowdown, but that was like a second or two, but it was like quickly fixed, and there was something like didn't like messed up my experience or anything like that. But wow, I am so impressed. 60 frames per second dock mode and 60 frames per second on dock on the go.
That shows you the power of the RE engine, because you mentioned Pragmata, which also runs on that same engine. That lets you know Capcom knows how to cook with that thing on different systems.
And that's why I'm happy that this game is coming out the same day as all the other platforms, because usually it will come out first to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, right. And then months later or a year later will come out on Switch 2. I think companies should start doing this to show the power of the Switch 2, so I think it looks amazing. It looks amazing on this device, man. I'm super, super impressed. I think I think the majority of people are going to buy the PS5, Xbox PC version, right? But if you only have a Switch 2 console, you need to buy this game. You hands out, it's one of the best games on the Switch, 100%.
Yeah, and I like that Capcom. We also have the older Resident Evil 7 and 8 before this.
Yeah,
I got a review codes for that as well. So that's pretty dope. No, I'm glad to hear that, but since we're talking about graphics, because I specifically played it on the PS5 Pro.
Oh, I'm very interested to hear that one.
Yeah, so there's two graphic styles in it. Basically, if you turn on ray tracing, it defaults to 4K resolution and 60 frames a second. But if you turn off ray tracing, the frame rate could go as high as like 120 frames a second, but no ray tracing, the texture is a little bit lower. In my opinion, I appreciate the fact that that's there, but this isn't that type of game where you need quick reflexes, So I stuck with ray tracing on because I wanted the game to look good, and all that. But it is cool that we got those options. And throughout my whole playthrough, I was telling you about this too, Danny. I didn't experience any mess ups or anything. Everything was clean. There was only one part that kind of slowed down, and it was in a cutscene of all things.
Oh, cutscene? Interesting. For me, there was like a lot going on at that moment that it slowed down a bit, but it was very quick. Like it was something that.
Yeah, it was very quick for me too, but I just that's a good thing. It's like out of my 12-hour playthrough, it was only that one little thing. I'm like, for a second. I'm like, okay. It's again, the RE engine is so good, man. So, it seems like whatever platform you get this on, you're going to have a fantastic experience.
Yeah, definitely. Have you even played the Switch 2 version at all or no?
I have not. Yeah. I didn't
have you heard from other people that played it?
Yeah, they say the same thing you have. They were like expecting it to look and run really bad. And they were like, yo, this looks great. This runs great. One of my colleagues, he went to that event and he was like, yo, this is legit.
Yo, I'm telling you. I mean, you could tell the difference, of course.
Yeah.
You could tell the difference between this and like other consoles. But yo, it looks good, man. Like every time I play it, it doesn't feel like I'm playing a Switch 2 game. Like because I usually play the Pro controller. Because that to me is like my favorite controller out of all controllers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great, man. Been loving it so much, man. Loving it so much.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic game, man. To me, because just like you, I've been here forever with this franchise, and this really gives me everything I want. Like, no shade on the last two games. I like those a lot too, but this one feels more like a proper Resident Evil game to me. Like it's continuing the story of those core games.
What makes you think that way though about this compared to, because I really enjoyed 7. I enjoyed the other ones. I didn't like 6 at all. I think 6 was like
trash.
6 was trash. Yeah. 6 was the worst out of all the Resident Evils. But what was it to you that stood out about Resident Evil, Requiem, for you as a fan of Resident Evil?
Yeah. So regarding your question about the last two games, don't get me wrong, I like them a lot, and I feel 7 was the necessary reset after 6, but they didn't feel like Resident Evil games to me. Maybe it was because of the first person or whatever, but 7 specifically, you're not even really doing a lot of fighting until like closer to the end. The last one was a little bit more action-packed or whatever, but I think for me, it may be because I'd never connected with the main character in those games. He always felt very off. I know we had Chris in there, or whatever, but this one, I'm going to say it, man, like, don't go into this expecting answers for those two games, right? I'll just say that. This is, if you've played, and I'm glad you mentioned all those games, Danny. 1, 2, 4, you play those games, you're good to go when it comes to the story here. And I like how it expands on things. It's like, okay, they're not just regurgitating stuff. They're expanding on the story that we've known for 30 years. And it's great.
Mm-hmm. And I did mention 7, and the reason I mention 7 is the way how you play,
angle, right?
Yeah, because of the way how you play, not because of the story, but but I think I really and it's hard introducing a new character and for you to really get into this, like to new character. Like when I play with games like that, it's hard with characters you played before or if you see them in the past. Like it's easier to connect with them, right? But when it's new, it is tough to do. And I think they did a pretty good job with that. Like I was like there was moments I felt really bad for her too. I'm like, yo, man, she's going through a lot. What's going up in here? You know, like that's something that I really, it's really, to me, it's really hard to pull off. You know, at any game or any movie or anything like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm glad you bring this up because I said I didn't connect with Ethan. Think about it. We played with Ethan for 2 games. I never felt like I connected with him. Grace, I instantly connected with her. So it's the way you do the character. You know, like Grace, I'm like, okay, I liked her. You know, she felt very down to earth and real, you know, and determined, you know. So it's not about like, you know, just because yes, it is more difficult to connect with a new character, but it's also the way the character's in. I felt Grace felt more like relatable.
Mm-hmm. And wait, you said something about Ethan? You said you did.
Yeah, Ethan, and like he's cool, but I never really connected with him like that. In 2 games. Meanwhile, with Grace, I only needed 15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, she's cool.
And you're like, I'm all in. I'm all in. Yeah. What other things to you that stood out to you about the game that you feel like it should be highlighted too in our conversation?
Yeah. Well, you know, right before this, we were talking about, you know, the headsets we're using. You want to use a headset for this game, bro. The sound design, it is so good. And not only is it like appropriately like creepy and atmospheric, it'll save your butt sometimes because if you're walking and you hear something, you're like, let me not advance. Let me go real slow, you know? And then there's even cases where if you make noise, zombies are going to hear you. So you want to be very aware of that. And I also love not only the sound design, but the music itself. Like it really, like it ramps up or slows down at the appropriate times. And there are some times where the music stops and that's even scarier. Like, oh, yo, what's about to happen? You know?
I mean, sometimes you hear the music and you know something is about to go down. Like as soon, and it's certain parts of the music, like, okay, somebody saw me, I'm screwed. Where's the zombie? You know, you could tell. Also, what you think about like the controls? Anything else for you? Puzzles compared to like the previous ones?
Yeah, like obviously this is a Resident Evil game, so you get a bunch of weird puzzles. Like, yo, who designed this mansion to have all these weird puzzles, you know? But I liked how the puzzles were challenging enough, but not too challenging to just stop the game. Grace gets more puzzles, obviously, but I enjoyed that. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I like the upgrade system that it has. All the other Resident Evil games had them, so I'm not spoiling anything there. I think that's very clever, just to kind of keep you engaged, and they really mix it up, man. But one thing that I found kind of interesting, this has been true for most Resident Evil games, but it kind of really stuck with me in this one. If you think about it, bro, like the tension of this game doesn't come from you constantly facing zombies. Most of the time, you're not actually facing anything, but the fact that you're walking down a hall and you're expecting something that builds inside of you. Like even when you're Leon, you got all these crazy weapons. You're still like, yo, what's going to jump me? You're still scared. This is why I like, you know, I'm being real. I'm man enough to admit this. I can only play this game like an hour or 2 at a time because it's just too intense. You know, so I got to scale back. So again, the way the flow of this game is so masterful, like the way the story flows and then the tension, it's like, you know, and that's why it's good to have 2 characters. Like, you know, you could have Grace, you're feeling all this tension and stuff, then you get Leon, get the release of blowing stuff up, and then back to slowing down. Like, the way they did this is so good, man.
Yeah. At first, I was like, man, I gotta do this puzzle stuff, man. Like, I remember going to the Nintendo event, and I got to play this for the first time. I know previously there was a Resident Evil Requiem event, a hands-on event. I didn't go to that. I couldn't. So I was disappointed on that, man. But I was like, oh man. So I started playing the game and then I realized, oh, I forgot puzzles and so on. The puzzles wasn't challenging at all. I felt like it was cool, but there was moments in the game where there were things that I just couldn't figure it out and I just kept on going. And I never got unlocked. Okay, there's stuff that this extra stuff that you could do it basically is optional, you know. So there was a lot that I missed. Hopefully, at my second playthrough, I want to go back and do all that all over again and figure those puzzles out that I totally missed from the first time to see what pops up because I have no idea.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's some of those, that I kind of miss too, because I'm like, there's a lot of zombies over there. I'm just gonna skip all that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I don't want to deal with that.
Yep.
Yeah. And I remember the early days of Resident Evil. Man, sometimes I ran out of ammo, and I'm like super pissed. Like, how the hell am I gonna finish this? I didn't get that vibe in this one at all. Did you? Was it like moments where like, yo, I don't have no ammo type thing, or
yeah, I got close to it, but the game always seems to know when to give you ammo when you need it, and you could craft some ammo too. That was, I'm not spoiling anything. That was in the demos and stuff. So you're able to craft things that you need, so you never feel like, and I'm speaking about normal difficulty. I like the higher difficulties. I'm pretty sure you probably can't go too ham with that. It'll probably limit your resources, but I never got to a point where it's like, yo, I just ran out of ammo.
What? Okay, so I know we mentioned a lot of good. Was there any bad that you didn't like about the game? Anything?
So I'm not going to say this is something I didn't like. It is a valid criticism. Doesn't even... Remember what I said about the last two games, right? I was like, I didn't like them as much. They were very innovative for Resident Evil, right? They brought something new. This one doesn't do that. This is a very standard Resident Evil game. So if you're expecting something new, you're not really going to get it, that way. That's not something I'm personally like mad about, but I can understand why people would be like, hey, I didn't get anything new. The last two games gave me something new. That's the only thing I could really think of, which is a good thing because I can't think of anything else. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I did find it innovative. I think as a Resident Evil game, the part where I said to that, switch in real time, first person and third person, like they have never done that before in any Resident Evil game, so. Or having two characters where it switches, like the way how we play was, like the default way to play. I think that's innovative for Resident Evil. I mean, not for gaming in general, but like that part, I think was something different and new. I think the part where I think I had issues, maybe, again, I play on the Switch 2 version, was more of like, certain things I just couldn't get, like the puzzles. I'm like, this is frustrating. And I just kept on going. I think those are the things that really didn't bother me. I had a lot of ammo. I was crafting all the time, so like, there was not no moments where I was stuck, like previous Resident Evil games, I don't know. Like, I think I could definitely see this game being as a contender for Game of the Year for me personally.
Yes.
I think, nowadays it's hard for a AAA game like this to create this huge buzz right in the beginning of the year. It's been a while that we have seen something like that, so I think it's good. I think my only thing was just that, like, I got frustrated with certain moments of the game, like just puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the good thing is you have the option to put it casual, normal. There's two versions of normal and so on, so yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Overall, I probably will be in my top 3 by the end of the year. But I'm a big Resident Evil guy, so that's not a surprise there. But it really, and I said this in my review, which is up now by the time you guys are hearing this, like, this gives me everything I want from the franchise, and that makes me happy.
Anything else? So?
No, that's pretty much it, because obviously we can't get into spoilers. So
no, we can't.
Yeah, because I do want people to, I hope that our conversation here at least made people interested, because there is more to say, but I want you guys to go in as clean as possible without knowing too much, because you're really in for a treat. Capcom, they like, they knocked it out of the park.
Oh, it's a home run. They're killing it. And like I said, to have it also available on this one, Nintendo Switch 2 day one, at the same time as the other platforms, I think that's a win for everybody. Nobody's going to miss out, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, but Tony, anything else you want to promote or anything? People can check it out, follow you, the show, your
for sure.
Tom Guy stuff,
Yeah, as always, Danny, thank you for having me on. It's a good conversation, really fun. Congrats again for 21 years. That's huge. But yeah, for me, you can follow me over on Twitter at Romudeth, ROMUDTH. There's links to all my stuff. I write for Tom's Guide, covering computers, gaming, all that good jazz. And then my podcast, Throwdown Show, we go live every Thursday and Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch and YouTube. And you could literally find us on whatever podcast you listen to, the app, we're there. So we're all over the place, man.
Awesome, man. Shout out to you and the whole crew over there, man. Throwdown Show. Make sure to check out the podcast. Great debates, great discussions. Make sure to check it out.
By the way, Danny, we have to have you on pretty soon, man. We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah. I mean, let me know. I'm down. I'm down to do it, man. Yeah, it's been like a couple years, right? Has it been a couple years? I think so.
Yeah. So we got to change that.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Also, shout out to Capcom. Thank you so much for giving us opportunity to review this game early. I had an amazing time.
I loved it.
Contender Game of the Year. Let's see. It's still early. We're in February still, so we'll see in the future. But make sure to check out gamertagradio.com. If you guys have any questions, feedback, remember to hit us up. And until next time, we're out. Peace.
Peace.
There you go.